Okay, good morning. Just going to introduce myself. My name's Amanda Jewell. I've been a careers advisor for over 25 years, worked in Dubai for a long time, and I've got a lot of experience of working with students moving from year 13, particularly to universities in the UK. I just really want to try and reassure you that in these uncertain times, if you have been offered a place to study at a university in the UK, they are doing everything they can to ensure a normal transition and experience for all of their students. The UCAS website has lots of information at the moment, live webinars, opportunities for questions. So please use that if you have any questions about what might happen. I'm going to treat this talk the way I would do any other year. We all know that employment opportunities for students may not be so readily available this year, but you will still have to manage your money, and many students will still work part-time while studying. So I've called the talk Budgeting, Finance, Part-Time Jobs and Other Stuff, and there's going to be lots of resources and websites and information for you to go away and be really prepared for when you start at university. Okay, so I've called the first section Making Money at University. And even if you don't particularly need the extra money, if your parents are financing you and you're getting a generous allowance, there are still many other benefits to working part-time, and I will talk about these as we go through. So there's been a lot of research to show that limited part-time work whilst you're studying actually has a positive effect on the outcomes of your degree, on your academic performance, because they're saying that it forces you to manage your time effectively. They always say if you want a job doing, ask a busy person because they're managing their time really well. So that's one of the benefits of part-time work. If you are an international student who's hoping to go and study in the UK, depending on your Tier 4 visa, which hopefully we can discuss in a little bit, you are able to work. So during term time, you're allowed to work 20 hours a week, and then in the holidays, you can work full time. Now, everybody's Tier 4 visa, the conditions may be different. I've put the website there so you can go and check, but just because you're international doesn't mean to say that you can't work. So it is open to all students. Okay. So I just thought I would talk about some of the students that I've worked with in the past and how having a part-time job has supported them not just financially but in lots of other ways. So the first student here is a current student at Oxford Brookes studying media. He is really enjoying the photography aspect to his degree course and saw a job advert for someone to work for a very small company, just 4 employees, and they go around in the evenings, go to events and clubs and take photographs of students, obviously with their permission. These are then posted on social media, and he was earning £20 an evening. He was getting into clubs and events for free, and started really enjoying the work and kind of developing his skills with flash photography. After about 6 months, the owner of the company decided he was going to leave Oxford and asked the student if he wanted to buy the business, and that really consisted of just paying him for the 3 professional cameras that the 3 employees used. So now he's actually, up until the lockdown, he's actually running this business himself, and hopefully things will get back to normal after the lockdown. The second student is actually my son. He's studying engineering at Oxford Brookes. Straight away when he started university, he got a job at Wix. Now they sell building materials. Not that he knew anything about that, but He's been working there for 2 years, part-time, doing 3 sessions a week. And he has been one of the first students, actually the first student in his year to secure his paid placement year, which is when he's going out and working for BAE Systems. And the feedback from his interview was that the placement, the work that he'd been doing at Wix was really key in him developing the skills of problem solving, communication, teamwork that they were looking for in a student for this placement. So again, some really good benefits. The third student here is a student at Winchester University. She's studying events management and has been really enjoying it. And what she does is she hires out small events, small nightclubs. She hosts DJ nights. She gets in kind of new upcoming DJs and is starting to make some money through that. And also setting up her own business and the whole kind of skills associated with that. So, as you can see, quite a lot of benefits, not just financial. Lots of my other students in the past tutor for GCSE and A-levels and other exams. And they've also undertaken things like barbering skills, jewellery making, barista courses, so learning about coffee making, so that when they start university, they've got very specific skills to offer an employer when they're looking for work. So there's a couple of really good websites there. Money Saving Expert has a whole section for students on, it has special offers, discounts and things like that. So have a look at those when you have some time. I've also looked at some other ways that you can make some extra money. Some of them are not hugely well paid, but for the top one, there's all of these online surveys that you can take. You have to fill out some forms, fill out some questionnaires, and you might earn £2 or £3. But if you do 5 or 6 of those in a week, that's a really good contribution towards a night out or your shopping bill that week. There's a website called User Testing, and they're asking, it may be specific that they're targeting students, and you might review some new kind of website for students. It takes about 20 minutes, and you can get £5 or £6 for each one of those that you do. So these are things that you can easily fit in to your kind of student life and your academic studies. We've obviously got the gig economy, we've got things like Deliveroo and Uber Eats, and it's about that having total flexibility. So you might have a really busy few weeks with exams and coursework, and then everything's finished and you think, okay, I've got a couple of weeks now where there's not much going on. Sign up to Deliveroo, Uber Eats, and work as much or as little as you want. One thing I would advise is, and a lot of students really don't take advantage of this, is every university will have its own careers service. They will offer part-time jobs and things like opportunities on campus. So, if you're living on campus, it's very easy to kind of go and work where you don't have to go too far or get buses or trains. And there'll be jobs such as student ambassadors, hall reps, and even big brands often will want to raise their profile on campus. So you could be like a brand manager for something and kind of try and raise the profile with other students. University Careers Service is available to students, and I think it's up to 5 years after you've left university. So when you're looking for graduate positions, when you're looking for maybe postgraduate courses, they're the perfect place to go and, make yourself known, pop in there, have a look at their vacancies board, talk to them, have a chat, tell them the kind of thing you're looking for, and they will support you if you're looking for some opportunities. Some more ideas here. Form filling, web research, data entry. Again, you can choose when you can work. You can do it from home. A good one is Clickworker, and then they pay you via PayPal, so you can use that to pay for other things. If you shop online and in supermarkets or other stores, you can get cash back. And these three are seen to be really good ones. They're free and they have a big range of retailers and have some exclusive kind of offers on getting cash back on money spent. Again, going back to the gig economy, if you have some specific skills, such as you're fluent in another language, you're expert at Photoshop, you've got a beautiful voice, you can sell services such as voiceovers, doing Photoshop for somebody, and you advertise yourself on there. You say how much you want to charge per hour. You can see what the competition is for the kind of services you want to offer. And again, another way of making a bit of extra cash. I did find this next one on eBay, which I thought was quite funny with the current shortage of toilet rolls. You can make money from old toilet rolls. Somebody's selling 100 empty tubes for $9.99 for people who want to do craft projects and things. So lots of ways that you can make money apart from the kind of obvious working in pubs and restaurants. So once you've started to make some money, hopefully through some of these resources, then it's very easy just to spend it. So we're now going to have a little look at how to manage your money, kind of where that comes from and how to manage it. So there's a little quiz, there's a link there. It's just some kind of terminology and see if you really understand what budgeting is all about. So you can have a look at that later and see how you fare. Some statistics here that 1 in 4 students have never ever budgeted. And it is a skill. It is something that you get better at with time and experience. I thought it was quite interesting to see where students turn for their emergency money. It says here that 78% go to their parents, which is, I understand that, the bank of mum and dad. But you've got other places where students do go. The student union, which is a big part of every university, they offer lots of different services, from counselling to financial advice to organising events to supporting student issues. But one of the key things that they do is, if students really are in financial crisis, you can go to them. They do have crisis loans and will support you with things like that. So please be aware of services like that. So students who do get into financial difficulties, it says 8 out of 10 students do worry about making ends meet and having enough money. And this then has a knock-on effect on both your studies and your health. So just make sure that you are keeping on top of your budget, that you do know, when your rent's coming in and when you need to go and do shopping for food and essentials, so that it's not having a negative impact on your time at university. So, budgeting. There's 3 kind of aspects to budgeting. So the first one is you really need to think about your income. So where is your money coming in from? And it might be different for different people. but these tend to be the main ones. So you may be eligible for a maintenance loan, which I'll talk a little bit about later. You may have secured a grant, a bursary, a scholarship, or some sponsorship for your course. Obviously, money from your parents or your guardians, any income that you've got from a job, and you may have some savings. You may have worked whilst you're at school, and you may have some savings. There may be other ones, but you need to think about where your income is going to come from. The second part then is to think about what are your essential outgoings. So what am I going to spend, and which of these are essential, which can I not do without? And again, that will be different for different students. So I've got some thoughts here. So tuition fees, definitely essential. Rent, internet, TV license, water, gas, electric. If you're in halls of residence in the first year, they're normally included in your rental. But many students in their second year will go and share houses with their friends. And that's when it starts to get a little bit tricky, because you're having to pay for all of those things on top. Insurance, I'll talk about a little bit later. Travel costs, food, household supplies, toiletries. So you need to start to think about which ones are essential, which ones you can't do without. And then, of course, university is about having a bit of fun as well, socialising. So then, you need to think about what's left for those, whether we call them luxuries or extras. You might have Netflix, Spotify, your social activities, gym membership, tickets, festivals, holidays. You might even be one of those kind of students who manages to save a bit. So this is your budgeting thoughts, and once you have those together, then you can start to really allocate money to these different areas. So this is a typical allocation, that 50% is for your needs, so those are your essentials, 30% for your luxuries and your extras, things that you want rather than need, and then 20% is your kind of backup. If you can afford to save any money, you may have a credit card and be paying off debt every month. So that tends to be the 50, 20, 30, but that might be slightly different for you. But it's just an indication. So you don't need to work this all out on your own. These are 5 of the top free budgeting apps. There are apps that you can pay for, but the reviews on these have been pretty good, and there's links to their websites there where you can then go and download the app, see which one suits you better. Some might have specific student budgeting apps. So have a look, see which one seems to suit you, and then start to use it and see how you're kind of progressing with your budgeting. So when you're a student, it's actually, they say if you're going to go to somewhere expensive like London, it's the cheapest time you're ever going to be in London because of all the discounts and resources and things that you can get as a student. So as I mentioned before, the NUS is the National Union of Students. You don't have to be a member when you're at university, but if you are a member, you will get lots of benefits. So the card that most students will have is called a totem card. There's lots of different levels, but the basic one unlocks over 200 student discounts in the UK, in store and online. And now it doubles as what's called the ISIC card. So if you know you're going to be travelling abroad, the ISIC card gives you discounts on lots of maybe activities, art galleries, museums, things like Lonely Planet Guide. So to have the Totem card and your ISIC card together, you are going to make a lot of savings. It also doubles up as an official 18 plus ID card. So a lot of clubs and places will ask, as a student, will ask you for ID. You really don't want to be taking your passport out when you're going to clubs and events and evening activities. One of my friend's daughters actually lost her passport 3 times in her first year at university, which was annoying and very expensive. So getting a card like a Totem card will give you lots of benefits. Another rail card that most students get is the 16 to 25 rail card. And it says if you're going to spend more than £90 a year on train journeys, you're going to start saving by getting a rail card. It cuts a third off off-peak train tickets and tube fares. So if you're in London, you'll get discount on tube fares as well. We're going to talk about student bank accounts a little bit later, but quite a few of them offer a free rail card as an incentive to join their bank, so you'll need to consider that. Books can be a very expensive item when you're a student, particularly if you're studying something like law or medicine. So you don't need to buy brand new textbooks. You can buy second-hand ones, or you can rent books as well. And there's also a site called Vital Source where you can borrow the electronic version of a book, and that will cost you 50% less than buying the book new. So lots of ways to kind of save money. All the supermarkets, whether you're going to be shopping at Lidl or Waitrose, will all have loyalty cards. Sign up for one of those. I've given you a link to a review of the best and worst ones. So I think some of them, for every £100 you spend, you get £1 back. Some you can get up to £4 back. And that money builds up over time. So definitely worth getting loyalty cards. So I've been doing some research into the kind of best money-saving websites, and I think I've mentioned before, Money Saving Expert really is a fantastic one. Martin Lewis, who runs it, feels very strongly about how students are financed in the UK. He has a whole section for students, and he is really kind of fighting with the government about student loans. So if you need any kind of information about stuff like that, Money Saving Expert is a great website. A lot of the other ones, again, they're all really targeted at students. So choose the ones that you like. Have a look. Sometimes there'll be special offers and deals on. So make sure you're kind of aware and you can access these. Okay, so I talked a little bit about student bank accounts. So we're going to talk now about kind of how to choose them, and we're going to start off with what they are. So a student bank account is the same bank account as anybody else would have, but often they might have something like access to an overdraft, which is free. So basically they're looking to get people to sign up to their bank, and often people stay with the same bank for several years. So once you start earning, they know that graduates are probably going to be earning quite a bit of money. So it's quite nice of them to get you whilst you're a student. Some of them will offer freebies, so free rail card, free Amazon card, but really what you want to be looking for is the bank accounts that offer you the biggest and the longest 0% overdraft. Because one of my students, I remember it took her a long time to get her student bank account sorted out. She had a £100 free overdraft. She went over by £5. They charged her £25 for doing so, and then when she paid it, they closed her account. So it caused lots of problems. So really keep an eye on your overdraft and try and find a student account that will give you not just a 1 year free overdraft, but maybe 2 or 3 years. Talking to lots of students, some good feedback and a top tip is, open a student bank account that suits you, whether that's with a good percentage overdraft or whether it's a free rail card. And then set up a standing order, which is regular money every month going into one of these online accounts such as Monzo or Revolut. With those cards, you can set a specific budget every month or every week for food, for clothes, for supermarket shopping, and you'll get instant notifications if it looks as if you're spending too much money in that category. So it really is, it's literally a daily way of checking, oh yeah, I only said I could afford 3 coffees this week and I've had 4, and so I need to kind of cut back on other things. Monzo and Revolut, particularly Monzo, if you're going out for dinner with friends, you don't have to go through that kind of awkward splitting the bill thing if your friends have all got Monzo cards as well, because there's a facility on the Monzo account that allows you to split bills equally or however you want with people who've got the same account. So there's a link there from Money Saving Expert onto some kind of what to look for and things to think about when getting a student bank account. So a few tips on when you are setting it up, what kind of documentation you'll need. What I recommend is that you open up your bank account as soon as possible. As soon as you're in the UK, you get there, go and see the bank of your choice and get the ball rolling with setting up your account. If you're an international student, you'll need your current passport, you'll need to show your valid visa, home bank statement for the past 3 months, proof of address in the UK or abroad, you need to take both, some student ID or your acceptance letter from the university. And most banks will require all of those, so take everything. You really don't want to be going back and forth with different documentation. For UK students, you'll need proof of address and identity in the UK. So that could be passport, birth certificate, UK driving licence, and you'll need your UCAS confirmation letter with your unconditional offer. And it turns to an unconditional offer once the A-level results have come out. So that will be after 13th of August. But you can maybe start the ball rolling with everything else beforehand, and then mid-August just take that final bit of documentation. Okay. So the next section is really just some other things to think about when you're dealing with money, when you're budgeting, expenses you may not have thought about or haven't had to deal with as a school student. So, as I said, in your first year at university, you'll probably be in a halls of residence, and these things, may be included in the cost, but there are also things that are going to impact the environment. So if you start doing these as a habit when you're in halls of residence, once you move into your own accommodation, it'll be natural for you to do things like switching off lights in empty rooms, cooking with lids on your pans and matching your ring size to your saucepan, not putting furniture in front of the heat source in a room so it gets lost, limiting your showers to 4 minutes. So there's all kinds of things that you can start to do, even in haul, that will start to become habits and start to save you money and save energy as well. So just a few ideas there. So again, when I see students, when they come back from university, I always ask them if there've been any issues or things they wish they'd known. These came from some of the feedback from some of those students. So, if you're drawing money out, in the UK they tend to call ATMs cash machines. So some of them will have different charges. So it depends sometimes on the bank, sometimes it depends on location. And the difference might be you might get charged £2. Some machines you might be charged £8. So once you're going through the process, you might say, I'm taking out £50, and generally it will say this is going to cost you so much money. At that point, you can cancel that process. So just check that. Just have a look and see how much they're going to charge you, because you will find big differences. I mentioned before, don't exceed your agreed overdraft. There can be huge charges. You don't want to pay £25 for a £5 overdraft. It's just silly. The bad news is that student areas are high risk for burglaries. So make sure you do sensible things like, don't leave your phone or your bag on the table when you go for a coffee, Make sure you're looking after your electronics, your belongings, but make sure you check insurance details. If you're in university accommodation, sometimes, if your parents have got a house in the UK, their content insurance might cover you. But if your family are elsewhere, make sure, because you really don't, you don't want to lose your phone, your laptop, your glasses, whatever it is, in those first few weeks. And it's those first few weeks that are high risk as well for burglaries. So check out insurance. TV license in the UK. If you're watching live television on a laptop, phone or other device, you will need a TV license, and you could risk getting fined up to £1,000, which is a big chunk out of your first term's money. If you only watch downloaded or streamed TV after it's been broadcast, you don't need a TV license. But just double check that, where you're living, whether a TV license is included in the cost of the rent. 67% of UK students currently work part-time whilst doing a degree, and we've talked about the benefits, we've talked about the advantages this can bring, and for this current year, 2021, you have an allowance which is tax-free of up to £12,500. So you can earn that within that year, from April to April, without paying any tax. Now, often when you start a new job, they'll put you on an emergency tax code and you pay tax. But if you haven't earned over £12,500, you can claim that back. And I've put the link there to the website, which gives you information on how to claim that tax back. So the good old NHS, we've all been doing the Thursday clap for the NHS, and they are absolutely wonderful organisation. If you're a UK student, all students are eligible to access free healthcare through the NHS. So whatever it is, you can register with a doctor. You do not have to pay. There may be things you have to pay for, and these could be prescriptions for medicine, vaccinations, maybe for going on holiday, and some dental and optical treatments. But apart from that, you will be able to access free healthcare. Now, if you're a non-EEA student studying in the UK for over 6 months, you may have to pay a health surcharge, which is approximately £150 per visa year when you're applying for your visa. Okay? Once that's done, then you are eligible to access exactly the same treatments through the NHS as a UK student. But again, once you're applying for your Tier 4 visa, just check about this health surcharge so that you don't miss out and you are able to access the incredible work that the NHS do. Okay, so applying for student finance. If you're an international student, I'm afraid that you cannot apply for student finance. There may be a scholarship or a bursary that you can apply for, but you would need to look on the website of the specific university that you have been accepted at to see if there are any scholarships available. Student finance is available to students who have UK passports and have been awarded home fee status from their university that they are going to. This is quite a complicated issue. If anybody does want any more information on home fee status, my email is on the last page, so please contact me and I can hopefully point you in the right direction. So this is for students who, if you're starting a course at university after the 1st of September this year, you can apply for student finance from February. So it's been open now for a couple of months. It doesn't matter if you've not yet made your firm or insurance choice, because on the form you have to fill out, it will say which university are you going to. So say your first choice university is Exeter, you can put that down on the student finance form, and if in August things change and you end up going to Bristol, then basically you just let student finance know. So it's not a huge issue. You can change the details of the university later. I have put the website for applying for student finance. When you apply, you'll need your passport, national insurance number, and information about your family income. There's 2 types of finance that you might want to apply for as a UK student. The first one is a tuition fee loan. So you have to have received a home fee status from your first choice university. What happens then is your tuition fees are paid by the university, and then you pay this back once you're earning over, at the moment, £2,214 a month or over. And you don't have to start paying that back until you're earning that kind of money. It's not a means tested loan, so it doesn't matter how much your parents are earning. If you've got home fee status, you are eligible to apply for the tuition fee loan. The second form of finance that UK students can apply for is the maintenance loan. This is means tested, and the loan is generally to be used for living expenses, accommodation and food. Most of the students that I worked with would apply for about £5,000 for the year. You have to start paying this back once you're earning over £26,575 a year. And again, this is only available for home fee students. But the website there has much more information. Please go on to there if you have any concerns or issues or you want to apply, and try and do it as soon as possible. So if you are applying for student finance, it is divided into, there's different places that you would apply depending on where you are from. So English, Scottish, Northern Irish and Welsh will all apply through different websites. Now the definition of an English student is someone with British passport, but their home address that they've used on their UCAS to apply for university is in England. Same with a Scottish student, British passport, but the address that they're applying with is in Scotland. So that's your home address, that's where you see as home. It is quite a complex process, but I've put down the website at the bottom, ukkisa.org.uk. They're responsible for providing up-to-date information on financial and fee status information. It's not the easiest website to understand, but there are some key factors that you will have to take into consideration to get home fee status. So it will be things like travel back regularly to the UK and evidence of that. The fact that one of your parents is on a temporary or fixed term contract. But like I say, there's an email at the end. So if you've got any questions, hopefully I'll be able to help you with that. So we've covered a lot. We've covered budget and part-time jobs and student bank accounts. Hopefully you've got a little bit more idea about kind of how to manage your money and how to budget. I am happy to answer emails from yourselves or your parents, but please feel free to drop me a line. Many thanks and good luck with all your applications and your offers for this year.